What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
What up, everybody? We have just gotten the latest playoff rankings from the FHSAA, and they are spooky, but I think you might like them. So, Collin, let's just go through the big ones right now. Let's talk Niceville Eagles. Everybody wants to know, so let's give it to them first.
All right, so I'm pulling up those right now. In Region 1, we have Mainland still as your number one seed, Ponte Vedra 2, sorry. Mosley, the District 1-5A champions, are currently your third seed, currently sitting 8-1, ninth in Class 1-5A. But the most important, who's in and who's out right now. So 4 seed, Beachside, Milton, 5 seed, even though they lost to Niceville last week,
45-21.
45-21. Niceville is now a 6 seed. If the season ended today, they would go on the road to Mosley for a rematch of their spectacular game they had a couple weeks ago, followed by Middleburg and Fleming Island round out your 8 spots for the playoffs right now.
So if Niceville is the 6th seed, right, who are they playing in the first round as of right now?
They would play Mosley. They would go on the road to Mosley for a rematch of that spectacular overtime game that we saw a couple weeks ago, where unfortunately the Niceville Eagles lost and Mosley was able to clinch the District 1-5A championship. But we may see a round 2 of that game, which was, I think, for high school fans across the area, that would probably be one of the best games to see the first round of playoffs.
I think that'd be a great game. I mean, I would argue that was the best game that we saw all year so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. In some other news, moving to 4A, Choctaw is now your number one seed in 4A, followed by St. Augustine, Columbia, Ed White. And then moving over to Escambia County Schools, Pine Forest is your 5 seed, Rickards, 2 4A competitor as well as in. And Booker T. Washington also gets in, and it looks like Panama City Arnold is on the outside looking in by a couple
outside.
points.
Okay, I was like, if Arnold is in, like, we got to have a conversation with the FHSAA. And so let's look at rural. I know Baker, despite being undefeated, was on the line as to whether or not they'd actually get into the playoffs. Did they make it?
Right now, they are currently an 8 seed out of 16. So Baker Gators right now would host a playoff game, which is good for the Baker Gators. I know Matt Brunson came back this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of 2 teams, I guess, in Northwest Florida who can finish a season undefeated. They finished their season. And by the way, looking at their schedule, they played 10 straight weeks with a bye week. So shout out to the Baker Gators for getting a couple weeks off before a home playoff game. Moving to 2A, which we have said is probably the most competitive district in Florida, I think, in our area. Bowles is currently number 1 seed, followed by Pensacola Catholic. Even though they beat this team, South Walton is your 3rd seed, followed by Baldwin, Florida State University High School at 5, Bozeman at 6, Freeport still in at 7 on a 4-game losing streak. And guess who's still in? Walton.
That makes sense to me. I think Walton is a very good team. They took Freeport behind the woodshed last week. And so I think this Walton defense is incredible. I am really looking forward to seeing them. I hope they make the playoffs because, I mean, I think Walton can play with any team that they come up against in the first round, even a first round seed, even Catholic. Mm-hmm. I mean, because, I think they lost to Catholic by maybe 20, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
And so I think 20, when I look at all the data that I've looked through for the last 10 years, there are plenty of examples of teams that lost by 20 in the regular season and then turned it around in the first round of playoffs and beat that same team. So I think Walton is probably the most dangerous team in 2A right now. They have a great defense. Their offense is starting to cook a little bit. And I would say they have an average offense, a slightly below average offense, and an extraordinarily good defense. I would say they very much remind me of Choctaw, where their offense is okay, but their defense is just incredible. And I would actually say probably Choctaw's offense is better than okay. But that's who I compare Walton to, is I think Walton is a team that can win any game that it plays.
Yeah, and with their defense, I still think playing at a high level, even though we always do the defensive stats or who the best defenses are in high school football each and every single week, and you look at their record, they lost 6 straight games before beating Freeport last Friday. They still have a top 5 defense. They're still one of the best defenses in the area. That offense replaced 10 starters on offense, so they're only going to get better as the season goes on. And if you get hot at the right time, Christopher, this goes on for any sport, no matter what you play. Getting hot towards the end of the season and having the ability to get in the playoffs is very dangerous. So if Walton was able to hold on, unfortunately, they're going to be going on the road to Bowles. But it looks like right now, Pensacola Catholic and South Walton both receive home games towards the end for the first round of playoffs. And then moving to 6A, Pace is solidly in the playoff rankings right now. Bucolt's number 1, Mandarin number 2. Pace is your 3 seed, so they're guaranteed to get a home game. But for our friends in Crestview and Hub City, you're barely hanging on. You're an 8th seed right now. Fletcher is behind you, and I think Tate is on the outside looking in. But Crestview has Fort Walton Beach High School at home this week, so it looks like if they can win that game and maybe Fletcher and Tate lose their games, hopefully Crestview Bulldogs, after a tumultuous early part of the season, going 1-2 to open up the season, they've won 5 straight games. They're also getting hot at the right time. So if you're a Crestview Bulldogs fan, you probably didn't think this at the beginning of the season, but you're probably going to the playoffs. And unfortunately for you guys, you have to go to the number 1 seed, Bucolts.
Yeah, but you can make it. I mean, if you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
And that's what's exciting about high school football is that, typically an 8 seed's going to lose to a 1 seed 95% of the time. But 5% of the time they don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, if you look at, like, for example, a Walton that's an 8 seed, that's probably the most dangerous 8 seed I've ever seen in my entire life. I would much rather play Freeport right now than I would Walton.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, for Freeport, I don't know, man. They started 4-0 and they were lighting the world on fire offensively. And then they dropped their past 4 games. Now, granted, they played, Pensacola Catholic, South Walton, Baker, and then they lost to Freeport. I mean, those are 4 pretty good teams, even with Walton being a 2-6 entering this week 10 of football action. But out of all the rankings that surprise you, out of all the rankings that we just went over, is there anything that surprises you? Because Milton still being over Niceville, to me, is very interesting.
I get why Milton has played more quality games and they lost to Niceville on the road. Mm-hmm. And so, I think Niceville still beats them based on the play that we saw last night. I think they're about the same. I think that Niceville got a lot of help being at home. Niceville's home at field advantage, as we all know, is just freaking insane. And so I understand why Milton they also have, like, better quality wins on their schedule, right? Mm-hmm. Niceville has 1 quality win. That's Milton. Milton has several quality wins over teams like, Tate. They beat Booker T. They just have more of them on there. So that makes more sense to me. And when they lose, they don't get absolutely pummeled, right? Like, we saw Niceville get taken out back by Choctaw. We saw Niceville lose to a Crestview team that's traditionally seen as weaker with these power rankings compared to who they've played. So to me, it makes sense. I think Milton, a lot of people could make a legitimate good faith argument that Milton had a bad Friday. And
I would make that argument.
I mean, I know you would, but I'm saying that, like, people that are not sold out homers would also make that argument. And I think Milton's a very good football team. I still do. And I think that it makes sense that they're 5. It makes sense that Niceville's 6, and that Mosley is 3. That means Mosley will be the only team hosting a playoff game. Niceville would be going to, not Fleming Island, right?
Niceville would be going to Mosley.
That's right. Okay, so Niceville would be going to Mosley, and then Milton would be going to
Milton would be going to Beachside.
Okay, Beachside over in Jacksonville, right? So I think Niceville gets the better pairing out of that. I like Niceville against Mosley. I like them even if it's away. I think everybody will travel for that from the Niceville retinue. And so I very much would, if Niceville does end up playing Mosley at Mosley, I like Niceville's chances. I would pick Niceville.
I mean that Niceville Mosley game. Niceville's only a couple plays away from being district champions at this point. I mean, that's how interesting this whole season could be shaping up. And I forgot about Crestview. Milton beat Crestview week 1 of the season. So obviously, with Crestview getting hot at the right time, I think that helps Milton. The only problem for Milton, if you're my Milton fans watching out there, is you do play Pace. You go to Pace this Friday, and that is not going to be an easy game for. I think Milton may possibly lose that game. I'm sorry, but Pace is on a roll right now, and that offense is not slowing down. I know we have a couple questions. I know we're short on time, Christopher. If you want to get to these,
yeah, let's knock them out real quick. So, what are your opinions on Crestview and their upcoming playoff hopes/contentions? I think they're a first-round exit, but I think the fact that they make the playoffs says a lot about the tenacity of this team. They could have laid down and died after going 0-2 at the beginning of the year. They did not look good at the beginning of this year, and they have. I wouldn't say completely turned it around, but dadgum, they look good. They don't look so bad.
See, I'm a little higher than you, Christopher. I think winning 5 straight games, possibly winning their 6th straight, against Fort Walton Beach this weekend gives them a lot of momentum. And, I don't think they're going to be a pushover against Buchholz. I think that the Crestview defense is getting hot at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be a low-scoring game. But that offense, like we saw with Milton, is sort of one-dimensional. They can't really throw the ball. If getting to shootout, we saw Milton get behind Niceville, and they couldn't catch up. And I don't know how Crestview was able to catch back up against Niceville, because it seemed like Niceville just –
all guts, dude. They just wanted it worse.
So to me, I think they would give Buchholz a run for their money, but I would still say getting to the playoffs after a couple seasons missing playoffs for the Crestview Bulldogs is sign of things to come for this community.
This one's probably going to take a little bit longer for us to do, but just quick summation, opinions on the turf fields. I know you're not crazy about them, Collin.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about him. You'll see the story coming a little bit later at midbaynews.com sometime around in the next hour or so. We just finished it. We just put out a
Collin, if you'll link it in the description or in the comments on this story, I think that'll help a lot of people.
Yeah, so Crestview, Choctaw, Baker, and Niceville are all making transition from natural turf to synthetic turf. Fort Walton Beach already has it. They've had it since about 2007, 2008, sometime around there. The total cost tag is about $5.1 million. It's not coming from taxpayers. It's coming from the savings account from the school district. I mean, the way they present it is nice. Charlie Morello was at a workshop on Monday morning talking about, when it rains heavy, the football field, which sits on a creek bed, especially north end zone, gets flooded. There's ruts, there's holes. I mean, it's a great thing, I guess, for cost saving. But as someone who played on artificial turf and also grass, I think I'd rather play on grass than artificial turf. Christopher, I know you have some soccer experience in your life, and you probably played on both. I think, do I speak for you and say, would you rather play on grass than artificial turf?
Maybe. I think there's some new stuff that I've been told about it's pretty good. But I like it for its maintenance. I think its ease of maintenance makes a lot of sense, especially for a school district that is frankly got a lot more kids and a lot less money to work with than, like, for example, Walton County. It makes a lot of sense in the long term. And we have especially here in Niceville, we have so few fields and they have so many different kids. I mean, PAL soccer, baseball, football, lacrosse, everything is all year round. These fields don't get any respite. So what happens, they get torn up and then you end up spending, $250,000 resodding them. And so I think it's better than that. I think turf is better than that. And so I am a fan of it for communities like ours where it's pretty dense and there's not a lot of space to put field. And therefore you don't have a lot of them. So it makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of what we're seeing across school districts. I talked to the head of the Milton High Quarterback Club on Friday, and he told me that Santa Rosa County schools are making that transition slowly but surely. The new high school opening up in Santa Rosa Beach, I think next year, has a full artificial turf. So schools like that, I think Central and Jay and Milton are going to be next up. I think Pace is going to be the last holdout in Navarre. Escambia County is making that push as well. And you're already seeing in Walton County, Santa Rosa, South Walton High has an artificial turf field, and they only need to get 2 more with Walton and Freeport. So it looks like school districts across the country are making this change. I mean, for cost savings, it's a great idea. But, a couple years ago,
But my knees.
We talked about, my knees, ACL tears and stuff like that. So in rise of concussions too, there's some studies out there that show that artificial fields have health detriments to players, but the cost savings, I guess, is why the school district went ahead and did this. But you can read that story on midbaynews.com later this afternoon. We have a lot more sports stuff on Midbay News. We have the men's preview for the Raiders, who are tipping off this Friday. We're getting the women's. We have Niceville High women's basketball coming up later this week. We'll talk with Coach Megan Darhauer and Carson Fayard about their upcoming seasons. A lot of things coming to Midbay News, but we just wanted to go live.
Sports ball.
Talk about some sports ball and get these rankings to you. We're going to have an updated graphic on our social media pages in the next 5 or 10 minutes or so. Thoughts on Baker real quick. You guys are world beaters. 10-0. I mean, congratulations. Justice Baldwin, I think, is in the nominate consideration for Midbay News Player of the Year. I honestly do think that Riley Renfro has been.
I would say they have 2 players. I would say Riley Renfro and Justice Baldwin are possibly in my top 5. I don't know when we're going to do our voting, but there are 2 of them.
But it looks like right now, Eric, the Baker Gators have a home playoff game, week 1. I don't know who they're going to be playing, but also little nugget, Jay is 17th right now. So they're on the outside looking in, and let's say they move up a spot. We get a Jay Baker game, and that could be an exciting first-round playoff matchup as well. So it looks like there's about 4 or 5 home games in this area, Christopher, that we're possibly getting around 1. And I know we're 2 weeks away from playoff football, but we're going to have to make some decisions next Friday on where we want to go.
All right. Well, if you want to see us at your home playoff game, let us know. You can either put it in the comments here, midbaynews.com. You can contact us there, or you can get me, Christopher, or him, Collin, at our names at midbaynews.com. I've got to go. I got a meeting. Love you guys. Good to talk.